Happy Tuesday, everybody. Hope you all had yourself a great weekend. I had a pretty good time myself. I got a little bit of a jump there. Let me see if I can fix some of that. There we go. Now we're back up and running. There we go. So anyway, happy Tuesday, everyone. I hope you've had yourself a great weekend, a great time. It's been a little wet over here, area that we've been at. Let me take care of this and get this popped up. Looks like my screen. There we go. Now the screen is set up. So anyway, a lot of the progress happened over the weekend. Myself, let's see. Of course, I got a client I'm working on a little bit of the design stuff with it. Brian, howdy. How you doing today? And we're working on a lot of networking, some video security system for another client that I have. But at the same time, I've been working on a story that I've been working on for quite some time now and trying to work on the development of it. And I finally got pretty good. How about you? I'm doing well, brother. We're been working on some character development, and I got some of it done over the weekend for some of the characters, like one of the two of the main characters that I have, and another secondary character, sort of like a little bit of a comic relief type character with this story that I'm not going to reveal quite yet, but we're going to work on one of the characters and stuff. Her name is Wani, that we're actually going to be doing with. So without further ado, let me show you some of the concept pieces that we did. And of course, I did a little bit more progress work on the exercise girl that we did from Thursday night. So let me flip it over to the main live screen here. And let's see. First of all, the exercise girl that we did, we're doing a colored pencil of. We got a little bit further on. I just got to finish up the sock, shoe area, and then maybe we'll do a little bit of a background for that. But other than that, she's been coming out pretty decently. We might play with her later on, a little bit later on in the evening of it. I'm going to pull out one of my... oh, that looks great. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate it. It's been coming out pretty well. And this is all colored pencil and stuff. We used a little bit of just a little bit of lead just to lay down. And after that, you kind of just wipe over it and stuff once you kind of have your structure on it. I had a great Father's Day with my daughter. It was actually real nice. We went and hung out and stuff. One of the things she got me is these, they're called sprout pencils. And she got me a whole bunch of these, which are pretty cool because the very tip of these, once you use it down to the end, you actually stick it into the soil and stuff, and it actually has the seed in there, which is pretty cool. It allows it to have the seed, and these are forget-me-nots. So, but of course they have other stuff. They got other herbs and flowers and whatnot that goes for the whole packet and stuff. So they got a variety of it. And I've been liking the lead on these. These lead are actually, it's really nice, especially if you're trying to draw some nice light lines, and it glides really smoothly. So, but it's called Sprout. They're Sprout pencils. So I don't know where she got them. She got them for me for Father's Day. And of course, let's see, very cool. It is pretty cool. That's pretty neat because she knows I like I've been growing my vegetable garden and my plants and my bamboo and stuff. So she got me stuff with seed here. See, right up in there is a little bit of seed. So anyway, so we got this one. We're going to play with this one probably a little bit later tonight. I can show you, this is one of the concept pieces. This is one of the art pieces that I did for one of the characters that's going to be in the story that I'm working on. And of course, this is the sidekick that I came up with also. So we got a couple neat little things for that. Making sure we got a good visual area for that. And a piece we're going to work on tonight is I finally got a good concept layout of Wani from the character. This is going to be her. I already did a pencil of her. I inked in a majority of the hard surfaced items, so I'm doing a neat process. Well, those two are great too. Thank you, Brian. Very cool. So, but this one is kind of more of a fleshed out end piece to it. And what I'm doing with this one, thank you, man. Thank you. I feel like I'm actually feeling pretty good about this. This is about probably the 20th concept piece. You know, the kind of a revision of things. So what I'm doing is a lot of the hard surface, meaning a lot of the items that I've like the hard armor and whatnot is actually that's what I did the inking on, and like her skin tone, the hair, this little kind of luminescent coloring that goes with it is what I'm doing in a colored pencil, to where it's going to have a softer feel to it. So it's going to have a little bit of a hard surface and a softer. Nice, you didn't have that much color last time I seen you. Oh, you're talking about the exercise girl. Yep. We got quite a bit of work done on that one. So we actually did some pretty good progress on that. So She was a good practice, especially for dealing with blending for color, and of course with vibrant colors, having a vibrant or versus a muted type color to it. So it came out really well with that. And but this is one of the stories that I'm working on. This is one of the characters for a story that I'm creating, or I'm putting together and been writing at the same time. And I'll show you again. This is the Joji Jinx. Hi, how are you today? Thank you for coming and joining in on the stream. So this is a character, Wani, that I've created. Like I said, there's been about 20 revisions, and this is sort of like the final to it. This is a concept that I have for one of the other characters for my story, and this is another character that I've created up. Looks beautiful. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I've been working on this story and characters for, gosh, a couple of years now, and I haven't quite, and I'm just now finally getting what I'm looking for the characters. So we're going to continue working with the colored pencils and do some blending on this, and getting her pieced together some more. And if we got some time, we'll finish up the socks and do the shoes on our exercise girl that we did here. I got the, of course, I showed you guys from last the charcoal, mixed media charcoal, ink, rendering marker, and some colored pencil of the xenomorph that I did. Thank you for following the stream also, Joji Jinx. That's pretty cool. It's actually kind of like a little tongue twister. Really neat. So anyway, the whole thing, that project, it's considered, her name's Wani. Everybody will refer to her as Wani, but it's like Project Wani, and of course that's the Japanese kanji of Wani, which Wani is Japanese, means gator dragon or crocodile dragon. So without giving away too much of the story, and you can see a little bit what the way the helmet is and some of the armor, obviously it's going to mimic sort of a crocodile-ish type feel to it, and it's going to tie into the rest of the story to it. The story is actually going to be a little bit of a fantasy. It's going to have a tie to a little bit of medieval fantasy with a lot of religious factual pieces in it, different religions and whatnot to it, kind of bringing them all together, kind of a little bit of a neat storyline for not only good accurate representation, because I love history as well. So, but anyway, enough of that. Let's get on to doing some artwork for a little bit. I've been very busy. The rain, of course, stopped me. I've been working on doing some of my other stuff. Great news is I've some of the giant yellow bamboo that I propagated some of the culms off of and put outside for my for some harvesting is actually today. It's been about 3 weeks. They said about a month it'll take, but it's been about 3 weeks, and I actually have little green sprouts coming up on it. So it's another cool thing to that. But anyway, let's go ahead and get, as I started already with this, I'll show you some of the colors that I've used. You'll see some of my process of things also. I'll show you here. This with just one of them. With my colored pencils, what helps me to remember, because I have hundreds, what colors I've used for certain things, I flip them over. So like I have all my colors are backwards, the ones that I use. That's a neat little reference piece to it. So a neat little tip for you guys if you do that, or if you need to figure out another way that does that. And Scott, thank you for liking the stream, brother. I appreciate you coming in and saying hi. So anyway, where was I? Anyway, what I did is I used, I first did this because I wanted it to be vibrant. So what I did is I used what's called this neon yellow color, and I'll show you on my scratch piece. You always want to have a scratch piece, and this neon yellow really pops. As you can tell, it really sticks out. So you don't have to put it in really hard. I did a nice light coating of where I wanted some of the brightness to be at for the lighting source. So I did that, put it a little bit to there, and then I started working my way in with a mix of some of the different greens and some of the darker areas. Instead of sticking with the greens, I love the coloring. Thank you, Joji Jinx. I've been working on this coloring a lot on it, trying to get it to where it kind of has a blend, because it's going to have this green that kind of goes into a blue. But in order to get the blue, you just don't want to use blue always with it. Sometimes the darker colors, you want to mix a little bit of warmth because of the shadowing and stuff on it. So it's going to have a little bit of a purplish color that you want to use with it for colored pencils. I might actually, what I might do is once I get this done, is I might actually scan it. And I have the pencil sketch already scanned and whatnot, because I always scan all my pieces as I progress through it, which is a good thing to do, because if you work through a piece and you end up having a mistake on something this size, you can always print it back out. And this page is an 11 by 17 page, Be a good thing to show you. On this backside, you guys can probably barely see it, but it's actually a comic book cover page by Canson. It's a Bristol board is what they call it. And it's got a heavy weight to it, so I actually could do a little bit of watercolor on this. I can use marker. It does wet and dry pretty well. If I do watercolor, you want to tape it down. So, but anyway, if you guys have questions on certain things as we go along, by all means, I try to keep an eye on my sketch area for that. And what we're going to go with is we're going to use some of this peacock green, because I'm starting to work some of the darker colors through to it, and we're going to start working the helmet in, adding some shading to that, and then we're going to probably start to put in a couple of lights, and either we're going to use our electric eraser, which is great for colored pencils, especially if you need to keep a nice clean line mark area on there, or you want to get a nice clean area. It does a great job with that, where you can actually pull the colored pencil up to a degree. But you don't want to really work hard on a colored pencil, because once these colors all get in, we're going to use the clear clear colorless blender pencil, which is a colored pencil that has no color in it, just has a little bit of a wax layout to it. And this one's worn pretty down low. I always have a couple of these on file, and this is what we'll use to blend. Now, you can tell I've done some darker blending because the tip has a little bit of darkness on it. What you always want to do is, if you're going to be going to a different colors, you kind of give it a roll, and you can see how it's already pulling some of that other colored pencil off. That's what you can do without having to use the pencil sharpener or whatnot. So, but anyway, got a lot of that going on. Putting together, I'm actually not only working on my website, but more importantly, I'm actually working on an app that I'm building myself, because I do user interface work as well. Not only for me, but I got a client that's wanting an app as well, and I was like, I might as well put one together myself, because it'd be a nice area to be able to put all my work stuff in, and whatever merchandise I decide to sell, and also eventually, because I got my Discord up and about, or I got that started and put that together, I'll be able to start putting to where we can have a little bit more one-on-one pieces. Wow, that's amazing. It is. It's actually, I'm working on trying to do it to where it'll work for all of my business areas on it, because I don't just do artwork or this design work for here. I do CAD work, I do electronic work as well, and I kind of incorporate a lot of my creative pieces into things with my design. So I do physical, I do digital design. It's a neat thing. So, but anyway, we are going to get this girl Wani put together here and kind of get some nice colors for her. What's going to be neat is her outfit is actually going to be a combination of I'm actually going to use some cool grays, and it's going to have some white for some of the armoring and stuff on it. So it's going to have a nice kind of a little bit of a medical look when it's like this is like her regular armor, like flight suit. And of course you'll have a green suit that'll modify and continue out as it progresses along. I'm trying not to give away too much, because I'm kind of excited, because I've been making some pretty good progress in my story. So I'm trying not to divulge it too much yet, but as I keep going with it, we should have some pretty neat and interesting stuff to it, and good content. Try to get something a little bit original, a little bit novel, something new for us all to experience and have some fun with. So, but anyway, that's how my week has started and the weekend has went. It's been going pretty well. Been busy as usual. And I actually already had my green tea today. Or I usually have my green tea to sip on, but I've already drank it because I had my food already. So anyway, you guys tell me about you. Tell me what you guys have been up to. What's going on in your world? What's happening in everybody's life out there? What's neat stuff you got happening? Or what you got going on that you're working with? This is always a nice open forum of things. I always like to keep it nice to where anybody can chat, or if they have something they want to just get on about, you're more than welcome to it. So, but yeah, no guys, the app, just a hint on that a little bit more, is I'm working on having that not only to where I'll have my e-commerce, my merchandise store, but I'm also going to try and get it to where I can have a centralized area for videos for training sections and whatnot, to where that way there's not all these websites you got to go to for checking out this or Patreon that, and trying to kind of make it a little bit more of a good layout. So let's see if we can give a couple little. Don't want to make that too dark because that's going to be a lighter color. That's a brighter colored area, so I'm probably going to find maybe a soft blue to help line that out. This darker green is just really to catch some of the that we're going to bring in, because I'm going to pull out my blend pencil in just a moment, and we're going to see how this starts to shape its way through. And we're going to get in all my notifications now. So, do, 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 do. Yeah, and of course I'm getting time to review your Japanese language. I'm working on getting ready to do my my certifications for getting working my way up the NPT licensing test for Japanese language I've been working on. So eventually I'll be able to have this in a multi-language format as well. So not a lot. Let's see. Working out, looking for new house insurance due to being dropped, which I found, but the agent hasn't returned my call yet. Made some two-digit addition carrying cards that I put up for sale. Oh, cool. On the Teachers Pay Teachers. Very neat. That's very cool, Brian. If you guys ever decide you need to look at some stuff for some training or school lessons and stuff for little ones and whatnot, the Brian here on there, he has some nice stuff on a site called teacherspayteachers.com. I think it's called Hopkins. What was it? Happening. What's the name again, Brian? I'm trying to remember the name of your place, and I apologize for forgetting it. Thank you. Thanks again for the shot. Rain all day here. YouTube and cooking today. Yep. I just got in the lawn mowing and a little bit of work out in the yard before it started to rain too. I'm waiting on some more product for my client's security system I'm putting in. It should have been here tonight to this evening, so tomorrow I'll be out doing that. Okay, your store is under your Brian Hopkins name. Okay. Oh yeah, Hopkins Hoppin' Happenings. That's what it was. So thank you for reminding me, my friend. So, and of course, if Lynn Scott is here, Lynn Scott, actually, I've been seeing him. He's actually got himself a podcast that he's been doing. Yeah, we have been getting a lot of rain today. It's been actually working out pretty well. It's been really, like I said, it's really helped out for getting my bamboo that I've been working on set up, and I'm going to be getting some black bamboo shortly. So we're going to have some neat black bamboo that I'm going to be cultivating as well. So we're going to have some neat stuff with that coming down the pike. And then maybe we'll do one out there on the outside where you can see what some of the stuff I'm going to build with some bamboo. So, because we're going to use that for some neat work. But I know if Lynn Scott's still on here and stuff, because he's the one that just hit a like. He actually has a podcast does now. I think it's called Cop Talks. And it's actually been pretty cool and stuff. And of course, reminds me of a lot of things. But it's definitely pretty neat. So if you guys get a chance, I think he posts his podcast on Facebook as well. So we'll have to check that out. It's awesome. I need to trim my bushes. It's gotten way too high. That's like a cool podcast. Yeah, it's actually, he's got a lot of knowledge and experience on not only the military side of military police, but also like just the regular law enforcement stuff. So he does some pretty neat stuff there. So, but I tell you, there is always something neat and new happening. So let's see here. We kind of have the lighting is kind of running that way on the top there. And I did a little bit of a dusting of a 10% warm gray for her hair. That way it's kind of laid out in there. That way as I color pencil over, I can kind of color pencil inside some of the areas that I got that kind of protrude through that don't have any color pencil down on it already. So it kind of makes it easy for it to kind of layer through. And we want to run this down right about here. There we go. Do 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 do. And let's see. Hit just a little bit on this because we're going to make this still a little bit metallic, a hard surface. So we don't want to just color through all of it. We're going to give it some little sections that we're going to hit. And let's see. And let's see. Let's kind of give. Maybe we'll run a little. Bit of a darker green up here. That. And of course, we'll probably make this. We'll actually grab a darker green for inside underneath there because it'll have a nice deep highlighting on it. So we're going to have a kind of a neat little, because this light's going to hit there, so there's going to be a reflection area off of this. So what we're going to probably do is we're probably going to take a little bit of a green here, a little bit darker, but then I'm just going to kind of dust it at a certain angle, and then I'm going to hit it with with kind of an olive drab green afterwards, kind of because this piece up here of the helmet's going to be a little bit of a flatter piece to it. So there's an olive green and a Prussian green. Let's see which one looks a little bit better. So let's grab the olive green and kind of put it up here and see what we got. That's the olive. And here's the Prussian. Let's see which one, kind of looking for a little bit of a flat look to it. That one's got a little bit of a richness to it, which isn't too bad. But I think we might actually, what else have we got? We've got a kelp green. The kelp green might still be a flat, because we want it to have a green, but it's going to have sort of like a brown, or a little bit of a brown and not too much yellow. See how that's kind of got a little more yellow in it. So, which we don't want. So I think we're going to stick with the olive green. So we're going to hit that out. There we go. And we're going to give this a nice little coloring area up here. It's going to flatten this, and this is going to give a little bit of a difference to it. And of course, we're not going to go all the way through because it's a hard surface. We've got to give a little bit of a reflectionary piece to it. So we're going to have a spot, and we might actually come back. I think I'm going to come back with my jelly roll pen later on and give a couple of really white highlights. So we're going to work that way. And I think we might actually bring some of this olive type stuff to a couple of these pieces that go down the helm that kind of act sort of like a little bit of like a scaling, or like the piece like you would on a crocodile. So we might actually bring some of those up like this out here as well, kind of flatten it a little bit with this olive green, because the rest is going to have sort of like a blue purplish green. It's going to have like a watery type feel to it. There we go. So let's see what we can do with this. And we'll run it right like so. Doesn't look too bad. Let's see here. We kind of want to, let's see, let me grab this guy also, so that way I'm not putting if I run my forearm across, trying to. Let's see, the other news, and not good news, is yesterday I woke up to little tiny worm-like gobs of them in the kitchen. I found some in the dog's dish and started looking at things. There were tons. Still more today. Every time I go in the kitchen, they tear maggots from those darn flies that come in the back door when Carl and I come in. Yeah, it's possible. There's actually, I know since they kind of cleared out, like nearby my house, they're getting rid of they cleared out a whole bunch of property across from my neighborhood, and so ever since then there's been my neighbors and the other neighborhoods and stuff, people I know in there, they've been having some issues with worms and all sorts of junk as well coming in. So anytime something goes to putting in new builds and whatnot, where it's clearing out a lot of area, and if they got to go somewhere, so they go looking for a new home. Unfortunately, that happens. So let's go that way, and let's see. That one kind of bends the opposite direction, so we want to, maybe we'll hit this here. A little bit of the green, the olive green. There we go. Run it up like that. Let's see if we can kind of give it that direction. Alright. So like I said, we're kind of going, because her name actually literally Japanese means crocodile dragon. So her armor and stuff is going to have that mimicking to it. So that's why we're doing a lot of neat greens and kind of like seaweed and a little bit of the type of sea kelp piece to it as well. Let's see if we can give this a little bit of a reflective feel to it. In here, this is going to have a little bit of shadowing in here, so we're going to actually give that a little bit of a purplish color into that, because you don't want to use just black or a dark gray for it, because it has a tendency that it'll muddy it out and not give it a good vibrant shadowing or shade to it. So we're going to use that. That's the reason why you never ever blend hard, nice and light. Okay, so we have that, and of course down here we can just pump this. We'll do a lighter. Wow, that's crazy. Hope I can get them all out soon before they turn to more flies. I think that's what the life cycle is from what I looked up online. Move my case of water bottles out from the house. That's one thing they were under. Oh, I'm sorry to hear about that. Trying to think. We actually, when it gets really thick like that, we actually have an indoor, like a little bug zapper. It looks like a little flat thing that we just kind of put in the laundry room and stuff. That way they kind of conglomerate over there and they become flies, and takes care of them pretty quick. Usually within a day or two, if something gets in, it gets taken care of and we're back to normal again. So let's give this a little bit of a look like that, so that way, because that has a little bit of texture to it, or shape to it. Okay, excellent. Alright, I guess we could probably start working a little bit more on, let's kind of start adding in some blue. That's a very bright blue. We might have to be a little careful with this. Let's see if this will, yeah, your wife showed me those and I bought a couple years ago after that, but maybe I need ones and they aren't working anymore. Yeah, well, there's the little tiny plug-in ones, and this one actually it's about I think about maybe 10-12 inches tall, and it's about maybe 2 inches thick. And it actually, we usually just, you can hang it up or you can set it like on a shelf, and it works very well. So let's see with this guy. This guy's going to be a really dark feel to it, so we might want to see if we can, let's start in the really dark areas first, because this is going to give a stronger blue sense to it, which is something we want, because we just don't want it to turn into a muddy darkness in there. So, and this, we don't want to press too hard, because we don't want to blend it immediately. We just kind of want it to work its way through. There we go. And I'm using the Prismacolor Premier colored pencils. They are a soft one, so that's awesome. These plugs and these plug-in outlets. I put one in the kitchen, one in the dining room, so between my back door. Oh, cool, excellent. Yeah, we have some of the smaller ones and whatnot that actually work out pretty well too for little tiny, if you got little tiny areas. Let's bring that, and let's kind of get rid of some of this reddish color in here. With try and take over a little bit of that with the blue. A little bit lighter. We're gonna Bring a couple of blues down. Bring it up nice and tight, like so. And once we kind of get this rolling, we'll go in and we'll work on some of the other reflectionary pieces and stuff. And I haven't quite decided yet if I'm actually going to, for the body armor, if I'm going to use colored pencil or if I'm going to use a marker. I might actually use some rendering markers to kind of get the little bit cleaner, smoother line layouts for the coloring. And or I could use I got some watercolor markers also that can give it still a little bit of a softer feel, kind of blend it in together. You use what you got, and or what will give the feeling that you're trying to push out. Now here I'm trying to go show a nice tight area of separation, so I'm going to use my electric eraser here and clean up this area, open gap area in between. Give it a nice clean line through, and then of course you got to use your fingernail or your thumbnail and just clean off the tip. Get rid of the wax off of that, and that works out like a champ. Take your brush, this is the old Pacific Art brush, and take off the excess, because they're basically, those are the tips are essentially, they're not like the kneaded erasers, but the tips are basically like these polymer erasers that you'd have, so they do leave a pretty good little squigglies on the art piece once you do erase. So, all right. So let's see here. Give this. This will give me my blue feel to everything. This will start to allow a little bit more for a transition with some purples for some really dark areas. So, and of course we'll give this a nice tight little blue area here we'll do. Like that. Okay. So time to stretch and be active. my watch, my Garmin watch is telling me, oh, you need to stretch, be active, move around a little bit more. You're sitting way too long. So let's add a little bit of blue up in here. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Okay, so got some blue up here we need to put in. It kind of ties through. A little bit across. And let's see. What we also could do is we can actually start working on some of the skin tones to bring in the skin color. So let's see what we got. Give a little blue here. Put a little bit of blue around tip area like that. Okay, so that's actually looking pretty good. Let's go ahead and see. We've got enough color pencil down. We're going to start. Whoops, that's the wrong one. We need my blending pencil. Make sure I don't have any left over. There we are. Alright, let's see. Let's start slowly blending this in. Getting a nice. You'll see that it's going to start. All the colors are going to start to come out, even the blues and the purples, and it's going to start looking really vibrant as we keep working it through. And as we get along with it, you'll see how it's going to really make this pop by laying down those brighter colors to begin with. Okie dokie. Give it a little pop here. If we need to have once we go through this and we need to add a little bit of brightness or whatnot to it, we can add a little bits of tints to it just to get some of the look that we're wanting. In case we don't get that brightness that we're looking for. Some areas I specifically left some of that neon yellow exposed because I want it to have a nice vibrant piece coloring to it when we push it along, like around out here. So, there we go. All right. I actually can't hear the Pretzel Studio music that's playing. I usually have my own feed of something playing on here, or a podcast, or something happening at the same time, or I got a movie going on, or something to give me a little bit of another inspirational piece. So, make sure I don't blow on it and actually pull it off. There we are. Okay. Let's see. There we go. Get some nice bright colors we can lay out with this. And I sure hope the camera picks up all these beautiful colors as they are coming along. If not, you'll have to see it at the end. But we're starting, as you can see, it's starting to get a nice smoother feel to it. It blends nice. This is still a little rough. So that's the beauty of this blend pencil, and I'm not putting a lot of pressure on it because I don't want to impress it into there just yet, because I still want to do a little bit of refinements after I do this initial blending. So if you do it nice and lightly, you can actually get a nice blend color through everything. Like here, we're going to blend this a little bit more. This is still a little bit too harsh, you know. So we got this part looks good, but from here to about here, we're going to work in a little bit. We're going to blend that, and then we're going to blend this a little bit better. So, now we are. Sometimes, as you always want to do little nice smooth little swirl marks whenever you do blending and stuff. You always have nice smooth swirl areas at the same time. Sometimes here, especially if you're trying to get a certain look the way it blends, you can actually pull and pull it and just keep doing one direction like this to get the color to drag down instead of it just kind of blending to what it needs around there. Kind of gives a neat little streak. It gives a different texture to things. But if not, you can always do this, which is just small little blends, curls, which works out nicely once you get your coloring you want to smooth it out. So it looks actually pretty nice. So, but the colored pencils, as you can hear, sometimes mess with the auto stop function. So let's see, we got that. Maybe we'll give it, let's see here, let's double check this green. Yeah, let's see if we can give a little bit more green here. That was a grass green that I used. Now we're gonna see if we can blend this nicely together. As we can see, that grass green really looks good right there. Kind of go blend into that neon yellow nicely with some of the cerulean blue that we have. So let's see if we can push that through. And we got a little bit of excess laying up here, so I'm going to take my eraser and I'm just going to clean off some of that excess right there so we have a nice clean line. Get rid of some of that right there because it kind of, there we are. Looks good. Looking good. Maybe we'll go up here a little bit more with this. And, well, actually no, let's bring that blue down a little bit because the blue has a nice look to it, but it doesn't look like there's enough here. So let's do this. Bring that in. So we'll keep playing with that till we get the color combination we're looking for best. There we go. So we're going to run that through. Nice. Looking good. Looking good on that. So let's come back over here and let's see if we can get this blended in nicely. It's always really cool when you finally, after countless sketches, you finally come up with a character that you're happy with, satisfied with, and it's your character. Put quite a bit of thought into it to try and, you know, nobody will ever see all the different little pieces that I put into this character, why or whatnot, but it kind of has a nice refined and completed feel to it, which is very nice and very fulfilling. It's one of the nice things about all of this, about when you do create artwork. It's such a visual piece. So, and I myself like art because even if you know a lot about art or not a lot about art, you can see and get your own feeling and representation from the art piece. So, just because you don't have if you don't have a big formal background on what everything should be to it, you should still be able to get a good feeling of stuff when you look at it, and what you like and don't like. Kind of bridges that gap. It was neat how it was used back in the day, where visual art was used a lot of things, whether it were on tapestries or whatnot, to convey either events that occurred or how the Egyptians, they used it in their own writing and stuff, kind of like a recorded, not only a actual writing, but like a visual record of things, which is pretty cool because a lot of times, even if you couldn't understand all the writings to it, you could kind of get an idea of what was happening, which was neat, or at least I always thought it was neat. So let's go ahead and see if we can get these guys to blend out nicely and give a neat streaking look to this piece. Kind of give it the feeling of motion and movement. Kind of gives this composition a nice dynamic moving piece. Keeps your eye actually will track not only down the center piece but actually from everywhere else. Kind of gives you, and of course with this bright colors and stuff, it's going to contrast, it's going to draw your eye to where you can't take your eye away. You just keep looking back towards it every time you refer to here. So it's kind of a neat thing you can do. And as you learn more about it and play with it, you can master it. It's always awesome to master things. But I always enjoy and have fun with whatever you work on it, on mastering. There we go. Look at those colors. Look how nicely those colors came out. Yeah, that's getting the coloring that I'm liking. We're going to add a little bit of purple in there too once we're done, all said and done with this, to kind of give it a little bit of a nice refined piece. And if I did this right, this should be a nice light medium color, and this will go to a darker color as I blend it out. Let's see if I did it right. Look at that. Look at how that darkens out. That looks pretty good. So, looking nice. Nice and sharp. Alright. That's getting another, I think that's getting about the color way I'm looking for it. Let's come up here and let's blend these guys in and see. We're going to need to carry this in a little bit and make this a little bit more tighter for the brightness, because I'm going to make this a little bit I want to make this a little bit, try and make it a little bit brighter. I might add a little bit of white in there just to desaturate it back out a little bit. So, because it doesn't really lighten it, it just desaturates it enough to where it almost has that light glowing feel. Here we go. Let's drag some of that green down, that grass green. So that way I don't mess with that, even though it's a waxy type area and it has a kind of a nice protection on it. I don't want to get my oils on it too much. What do I got? Make sure it's nothing important. No. Okay, nothing crazy. Once I get this finished up, I think I'm going to put this on a shirt maybe. This might actually look pretty cool on a shirt design. It's definitely going to be some nice poster art at least. I got to get a picture frame for that xenomorph so the client can see whether they want the original or if they want a digital print, because I'm going to have it to where I'm going to have it eventually where you can buy my artwork. That's what I'm working on with the app, to where you guys will be able to buy it directly, and that way we cut out a middleman. So, but let's see what we got here. Got a little bit nice, some tiny areas of color we're going to play with here. Run this through, up and down, around. There we go. Yeah, those colors are looking nice. Going to have a nice little brightness there, a little bit of bright area there and there. That should actually play out really nice. So, I got a character that I've been adding more and more fleshing out on. That's the main, going to be the main character in this story. So she's going to be another character that's going to be used a lot in the story here. Sort of like another main character, but we're going to hopefully use both for nice. I'm going to get some nice back and forth subject matter with either one of them. So that way it's not just all one-sided, one-person story area on it. We'll get some some good access. There we go. That's what we wanted. We're going to put a little bit of blue into this. I don't think I got enough in there for that. Let's see. I mean, I got a little bit there, but maybe up here we might need that a little bit more. Maybe put a little bit of dusting of it here. So let's look at it as a whole for a second. Let's see. Kind of getting, yeah. I think a little bit of it, a little more of that blue dust, a little bit of the dusting of the blue will make it, give it a nice, kind of gives it like a watery feel almost. At least a little bit of flowing motion, like a little bit of fluidity there. A little bit of a fluid motion. There we go. Soften this out. Give it a little tight. Might hit that area with the electric eraser just to get a little bit of a sharper curve or line on that. And of course, our exercise girl, even though I wasn't on for the live stream for the when I did finish up the rest of it, I still recorded it. So I'm going to be compiling the video from the live stream and that to put together and make a time lapse so you guys can actually see. And I'll post those so you'll be able to see the time lapses of a lot of these art pieces. The character concept, like her, I didn't record on there, so don't have a time lapse for her. I mean, other than this coloring part section here that we're doing on the live stream. So can't wait to see it. Yeah, it's pretty neat, especially when you speed it all up, because it takes about then maybe a minute and a half to see the whole thing, and it comes together really quick. So. Clean up some of those. There we go. Not too bad. There we go. Clean that wax off of there. Alright. Actually, let's clean, before I forget, let's do this line nice and tight. It's awesome. It's great. Girls looking good. I'm going to hop in the shower. Back in the head. Okay. We'll see you in a few, Brian. There we are. Let's see. What I thought about doing, I thought about grabbing a cheap set of crayons from like the dollar store and seeing just how well I could blend with even those, because just to see, because some people I was talking to about some of my artwork and stuff, and they asked some of the materials that I use, And they say that, oh, well, those are expensive colored pencils and this, that, you have a lot of expensive stuff. And yeah, I know, I've worked my way up more on some of that stuff, but you know, I think I might do a video on trying out some of the cheaper dollar store stuff, and just to show you, just, you know, how you can still achieve some of the neat artwork with just without having to buy all the expensive stuff. The expensive stuff just makes certain tasks a little bit smoother and quicker, you know, because I've had other colored pencils and stuff that aren't the soft colored pencils like these are, that it takes a little bit more work to get the blend and to get the shape on it, but you can still do it. So, and you can still use a lot of neat tricks for that too, to make it work. Sorry if I'm putting my head in the way here. Just trying to make sure I don't remove what I don't want on here. Be just a moment. There we go. Clean off the color pencil off the end eraser. And let's see if we can take off the excess there. Let's see what we got so far. So far it's looking pretty good. We're going to start hitting the helmet. I think we're going to add a little bit more blue up here. It's got nice green on it, but it needs to have a little bit of a blue. And maybe we're going to put a little bit, just a hint of purple. Give it a hint of purple. That'll give a little bit of a richness to it. So let's go to the cobalt turquoise. And we're going to just dust a little bit more cobalt turquoise up in here. It's going to give it a nice rich color to it. And we'll just nice and lightly there. Up here we can hit it. Maybe we'll put just a tiny bit of a richer. We'll push a little bit harder on there just to get that darker tip on there. So let's see. Yeah, we'll run it that way just till we get a little bit of a darker tip right on the top. That doesn't look too bad. Maybe just like so. Okay, let's go to the colorless blending pencil. And let's see if we can bring in that blue to everything there. There we go. Do a little bit right there. Just to push it out a little bit more. That's looking much better. Much better. Alright, now let's see if we can find a purple that we want to use in there. Because we don't want it to be too bright a purple. Let's try this one that we got just sitting there. It's a violet imperial. Let's see how that looks. It doesn't look too bad, but it's still kind of bright. I mean, it might look not too bad underneath with the, let's see what it looks like together with that. Because we're going to blend this. Now the paper that I have here is has a waxy finish, so it doesn't quite blend as smooth as the Bristol does. But I use this just mainly because I can kind of work through. Well, it actually might have a nice, nice an okay undertone to it. This one we might use. Let me flip that over that way. Let's go look down here and see what we have for. See here with the other purples we got. We don't want a bluish purple. We kind of want a little bit of a reddish purple because we want it to have reds in it. So maybe this dahlia purple, because it has a bit of a red. See how that kind of pushes through there. It'll give it a nice. You could use this for a nice shadowing effect, or an area where it has a shadow to it. So let's see, and this might give us that little bit of richness we want, just to kind of not keep it towards dull. Maybe we can just a little bit like that. We can bring this down here a little bit. We're good at giving just a tiny shot to it. And let's see how it blends in. Purple kind of gives it a little bit to it. We don't want to push too hard though. So let's here as well. This will give it a little bit more of a robust color. So we're going to get just, I think we're going to keep it just on this side. There we go. Because it's just to give a little extra accent, just a little bit more vibrancy to it. Maybe we'll run it up here. And we'll put it really tight up here. Just enough to provide a nice variation of coloring. There we go. Just a little bit. We don't need too much. Maybe up in here this will. This actually might work out really nice for a shadowing underneath. Here for the back portion. Let's see if we can go right about like so. That doesn't look too bad. Okay, what we're going to need to do is I'm going to need to get some of that excess up here cleaned out, so that way we're not going to have it interfere with our colors in here. Perfect. And let's use the blending pencil. Let's see if we can give it like that. Perfect. All right. Give it a little run through. There we are. Let's see. Maybe we'll add a little bit in here as well. Bring it right like that. Blend it in beautifully nice. Okay. And let's see here. Maybe we'll just a tiny bit at the top, just to get a hint. Do a little hint right there, just down the tip, just to get. There we are. Clean up some of these little stray marks. That way we have a nice clean one. Alright. Okay. So we like that purple, so I'm going to flip that over upside down. And where's my slot? There's the slot for it. Alright, let's see here. What do we want to do with that helmet? Probably, let's see, we want to kind of give it a little bit of a blue still. So maybe we'll put I don't want to put too much, but we'll add a little bit more peacock green in here. That might work out, just to kind of get a couple of these. Let's run that sort of like it's got a little bit of a curvature to it. Actually doesn't look too shabby. give this like the shadow and the highlighted area of the metal of this helmet. Kind of treat it like it's a hard surface. Maybe I'll get it right about here. Let's do some blending. Let's see how the blending looks on this, and then we'll do some fine touching on that. Okay, let's work down on the scale. We'll work back this way. Actually, let me, before I hit that, because that's going to have some olive, let me clean off my blend pencil. And you can see what does come out on it. I was going to give it a little sharpening, but I kind of like it a little bit blunt like that. We'll start with that and see what we get. So let's nice little swirl marks. Nice little swirls. So anybody see anything new lately? Any neat new movies out? Anything noteworthy? That's kind of nice. See how it's got that olive drab, that olive green that was put in there. Kind of gives a little bit more of like a military type green, like a military uniform, which will be great because that'll kind of match to kind of like the armor unit. In here, so we're going to get a little bit of a different variation of color here for help break up some of this green. Let's see if we can. I'm going to box this out just so we get a nice hard surface look, and then we're going to go after it just to kind of then blend it and smooth it to coloring on the other side. Area for that. There we go. Let's see if we can. This red areas and stuff, we're going to be darkening that out. We're going to put some purple in that to get some nice shadows on that section. Should make it look pretty nice. So get a little bit more of that olive in. We'll probably come back over there and use a little bit of a darker green in here to kind of show the different depth and heights. Of course, we'll have. There we are. Beautiful. There we are. Yep. Get a little bit of a kind of a military type feel with the helm, especially on the the little scale type pieces of the metal scales and stuff. That way it kind of go from like a warmer feel to it to a cooler feel. Let's see if we can get that to, there we go. Maybe we might bring this out a little bit further. Maybe run this out and then down. We'll see. So let's take let's continue on with this helmet, and then we'll start working with the face. I'm kind of having a little bit of a glow reflection that I started working on with the face there on some of the lighter colored pencils that we're going to do, and then we're going to put in flesh in the skin color and the skin tones, and the areas where you actually usually see blood flow on the face. Just where it gives a little more realistic feel to it. Gives it that, I guess they call it hyper realistic or hyper high detail. So, which can make the piece come out really pretty. Gives it a really nice, good aesthetic to it. So you just gotta take your time with it, and you'll plan it out, and you'll do just fine. And by all means, if you're not comfortable with where light values and hues go with it, use reference pictures of stuff. Find whatever reference picture you need to be able to, grab a motorcycle helmet if you need to. If you're working on trying to see how the lines run with the curves, find something that's similar to it. This is sort of like a little similarity to a little bit of like an older, like armor type helmet. So I'm trying to remember where I've seen it from. Maybe it was maybe Victorian, or actually a little bit older. But I remember, I remember the way the helms looked, like a Spanish type, conquistador type helmet, where it has like the little tip brim on it. So just kind of played off of that. Came up with my own little thing for this to make it look the way I needed it to. And here's some of that neon yellow starting to push through as we blend, which will give us our nice area of our light source hitting on the helmet to help give the shine. And the pencil you don't really see too well because I've already used my kneaded eraser to lighten it out. So as I'm color penciling, I'm not grabbing the lead and graying out everything that I'm coloring on. So it's really a nice trick to do. So let's bring this about and around. I'm going to probably do a little bit of a purplish area for some of those, like they got like a little bit of creasing in, like where the hardware actually comes together. Start to make that look a little bit more, make sense, and give a little bit more of a correct feeling. That's the nice thing. Always you can always keep working with it. There we go. Let's see, I'm back. Twitch is still working right this time though. Yeah, the audio hasn't buffered, hasn't messed up or something yet. Well, that's pretty good. Very happy with that. So we did some blending already on the bottom half, and we used some purples to help bring that out and give it more of a richness to it. So I'll probably do a little bit of detailing with some purple. And now we're working on the actual helmet and then we're going to work that. We'll start working on the larger portrait face in the background and to the front. It's looking great. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. So let's see if we can. So. This is definitely light here. We're going to have to work on this on the side of this helmet. I can already tell with some of these blends. So we're going to have to definitely bring in some more color to this. So I'm going to continue to blend it out a little bit, but then we'll hit some of the pieces that need some more color in there. They're a little bit too desaturated. So here we go. Let's see, that's 8:16. Making some pretty good time. Having fun. We might go just till 8:30 today. we'll work on maybe the exercise girl on Thursday, because I have a feeling I'll get this done by then. Maybe. If not, we'll play with this. You know, we'll have something we can work on. If not, we'll work on my the male main character. So, and I got a name that I kind of have a working name for him yet, but I'm not going to reveal it yet. But it's going to, once I get some more of the artwork done up on it, should come out pretty cool. Alright, let's turn this to the side a little bit here, that way we're not looking at the top of the screen but more in the central area. There we go. Let's get some of the excess off. See if we can work through some of this. You can see that neon yellow pushing through again, which is coming out beautifully. And let's see if we can bring just a little bit of highlight. Might have to. We're definitely going to need to work on the helmet some more. I can tell you that for sure. And we'll probably get some more in it once I get a little more detail in the hair done up for the colored pencil part. So, then what's going to be really neat is going to be differentiating the hair that's from on this head to the one that's on the bigger head that you're going to see push through. That's just going to protrude a little bit from the helmet. Should give a nice good contrast though once we do it right. That's the key. Here we go. Alright, we got 818. Okay. There we go. I hope you guys are enjoying this. If there's something you guys want to see, by all means drop me a line and tell me if there's something you want to learn how to draw, or if there's something you'd like to see me draw. I always take requests. So, might not get to them in the same day, but I'll try to make sure we always get requests. So, let's see here. Let's go this way. We'll start working some more darks and stuff on the helmet once I get it blended. This first round of blending in, kind of see where I need to add some more of it in there. Maybe add a little bit of, like I said, we'll need to add some purples and a little bit of red hues and stuff to really get a nice color, and that way it has a nice rich robust color. There we go. We're getting there though. So, and let's see. We got the olive drab up here. We need to get a lighter olive drab color for this block around the lighting section for that. And of course, we'll use a little bit of a brownish purple color we'll use for some of the other shading. There we go. Alright, so let's bring this back down so that way you guys can see it, because I think I took it out of frame. Let's see if we can get a little bit of coloring right there. There we are. Okay. So that's not a bad start for it. Let's bring in, let's smooth out some of the lighting here for the front of the helm that comes down over her forehead, just to get an idea, and then we'll do all the light blooming effects that we want to do. But we need to get sort of maybe we want a warm gray, but we want kind of a brownish gray, so maybe like a clay or some sort of brown that's going to kind of look bright, because it's going to have a light reflection piece. So we want it to kind of have a little bit of a bright area to it, but what we don't, let me run it along the edge here, because I'm going to do this, because I want to see what it looks like up by the other color. Doesn't look too bad. We might, I don't know if I want to use it there. I think I might use it here though instead. This might actually look pretty good for a little bit of a shadowing without making it look dark. Maybe like that. And we can use it for some of the other areas, like some of the vents here in the front, just to help darken some of that out. Okay, let's see if we got a lighter clay maybe. What's this? Putty beige. A bit of a lighter color, so let's run some putty beige up in here. It'll flatten out that green that's in there, but it'll also show a light source, so we can use that for the light section. That's because the way that the light is here reflecting, it's going to have a little bit of a reflection area that's going to come off the hard surface. So we're going to use this because it's not going to be quite green, this top section up here. So that might actually, that'll break it up a little bit more. So let's blend without putting streaks of green in. Let's blend this evenly toward, because we want that to have a nice smooth feel. We don't want it to look like we don't want it to be like very organic. We want it to be very machined, because this is a hard surface. There we go. Let's smooth this out, so you can kind of get it'll start to give a little bit more depth also that way. And what we're going to do is we're going to push those guys down so that way they don't fall out, because I'm going to go down here, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use where these vents are on the front here and some of these sides. This is actually a silver colored pencil to it, and it might actually give us a little bit of a nice reflectionary piece to it. So I'm going to actually tilt it over to the side here, so that way we can tighten up on it. And what we might actually do to get rid of some of that green, we're going to use the eraser sign, pick up some of it, and we're going to use a mix probably of cool grays and this silver. Might actually use a little bit of slate just to kind of get this metal surface look. And I think these guys I might make these back areas like a sort of like a light board down there, just to give us a little bit of a different color on the back section there. That might actually provide a neat little bit of a breakup. I don't want it to be too distracting, but at the same time I still want it to pick up some more of that. Here we go. There we go. Get all that excess pulled off there. So maybe what we'll do is we'll give maybe a little bit of a silver look. Yeah. Run it over this way, and we're going to put a little bit down here, and maybe bring it on the inside there. Here we go. And we'll use it over here as well. Let's see if we can kind of give this that reflectionary piece we want. That's where it looks like a hard surface. A little bit in here. Here we go. Give it just a little bit of a variation on that, and then we might actually do maybe a color. Maybe make it look sort of like a bar gauge, like an energy bar gauge or something to that effect. That might look pretty cool. So we don't want this stick out way too much. Maybe we'll use. Let's use this this deco yellow, and we're going to have it to where it goes from like a yellow to a red, which won't be too bad because the yellows will kind of blend in nicely with the rest. So we'll do it this way, and we're just going to run some yellow inside these squares, and then we're going to slowly go to an orange to a red, which shouldn't be too bad. So we'll put this, this will probably be the, let's see here, this that's sort of like a peachish color. So we'll run that in. And I'm putting it through all of them. You don't have to, but I like to because then it allows me to stack it and keep layering it as we go. That just doesn't have like one standard color piece to it because it can allow us to have a little bit of that variation it's going to run through. And let's there we go. Yeah, so we're going to have this orange in here. It starts to get a little bit more of a red feel to it. There we go. Maybe we'll go to, let's pull this section up. Whoop. Put this section up here and grab those colored pencils that are down there. Alright, let's go to this type of bright fire engine red. Yeah. Then we can, we're going to start to darken it out now to where this guy's going to start to darken. And we want to go to a little bit slightly darker red. Go to a crimson. There we go. And what we do is we can go to a cream color, or back to the deco yellow if we need to brighten it out a little bit more. So by going to the cream color, we actually can illuminate it out. That's how it makes it a little bit brighter. There we go. It's a nice little gradation there. And it gives us just enough. And what we'll probably do is we'll probably grab, let's grab some of the bright red area. What do we have? Maybe we'll add that bright red to a couple spots on this helmet. This is a good spot here. We can put another, like a little light section. That'll go with the helmet there. And let's see. We want to put one up here maybe. Kind of give a nice triangle feel to it. Yeah, maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll add this, make this in a red area too, up here. Red. There we go. And let's give a deco yellow. And we're basically going to do like an orb or a little ball area for it. Because that'll be like a brightest section. So we're only going to we're not going to cover the entire area, we're just going to give it one spot. on there, and that's going to make it feel like it's illuminating. Alright. Not bad. We got made some pretty good progress on that. It is 8:30. So, I think what we'll do is we're going to cut out now. And we will pick this up. Either this one or this one we'll pick up on Thursday. So, or we might just do them both. So, but we'll get them done. Hopefully I'll have another big artboard done up for the male main character. And we will go from there. So, but anyway, let's flip over to this one. So guys, thanks for hanging out with me. To the people who did also hit like the stream and whatnot, I appreciate it so much. Thank you. And to the new people that came in, even for a little bit or for how long you guys were here and stuff, thanks for hanging out with me. And by all means, anytime you have a question or if there's something you want to see, don't hesitate to give me a holler. We'll catch everybody here on Thursday. I hope you guys have yourself a great Wednesday. God bless. And don't forget, let's create something together. You all take care now.